Hi, welcome to Storytime at Jackson County Library. I'm Margie, and I hope you're ready for some fun today because that's exactly what we're going to have. I brought along Larry. He's my silly sheep. He looks kind of silly because he has a fat tummy, doesn't he? What does a sheep say? Do you remember? Bah! Bah! All right, Larry's going to sit right here, but let's get started. So here we are together, together, together. Here we are together, just sitting on the floor. You be my friend, and I'll be your friend. So here we are together, just sitting on the floor. Got your hands ready? Here they are. Ready? Open, closed, open, closed. Give your hands a clappity clap, clap. Open, closed, open, closed. Place them in your lappity lap, lap. Heady, head, head. Do you put your hands on your head? Heady, head, head. Do you do that? Not very often, do you? No, it's kind of silly. Well, do you know that we are going to have silly stories today? So get ready to be silly. The silliest story in the whole world actually is this one. It's called Silly Sally. It's by Audrey Wood. It has the word silly in it, doesn't it? Here we go with Silly Sally. Here she is. Look at this. Silly Sally went to town, walking backwards, upside down. Can you walk on your hands? I can't, not at all. On the way, she met a pig, a silly pig. They danced a jig. Pig, jig. Isn't that silly? Yeah. Silly Sally went to town dancing backwards, upside down. There she is, she's dancing. On the way, she met a dog, a silly dog. They played leapfrog. Dog, leapfrog. They're jumping. Have you ever done that? Have you jumped over another person, played leapfrog? That's what it's called. Silly Sally went to town, leaping backwards, upside down. There they are, leaping. Whoa, upside down. On the way, she met a loon. A silly loon. That's a kind of a bird, isn't it? Loon. They sang a tune. That's what a loon sounds like. Can you do that? Loon, tune. Silly Sally went to town singing backwards, upside down. Oh, they're all singing their tune, their silly tune. On the way, she met a sheep. Oh, Larry likes that. A silly sheep. They fell asleep. They fell asleep? Oh my gosh. Now, how did Silly Sally get to town sleeping backwards upside down? I don't know. I don't know. Look at that. Loon is even sleeping up there. I don't know. Along came Nettie Buttercup, walking forwards, right side up. Let's see what he does. What do you think he'll do? He tickled the pig that danced the jig. He tickled the dog that played leapfrog. He did. He tickled the loon who sang a tune. He tickled the sheep who fell asleep. The sheep woke up, didn't she? He tickled Sally. She woke right up, and she tickled Nettie Buttercup. They all tickled each other. And that's how Sally got to town. Yeah, that's how she got to town. Walking backwards, upside down. And this, can you see this? It's a picture of the person that wrote the book, Audrey Wood, and she is walking on her hands, backwards, upside down. We're going to have to practice that at home. That was a good one. And parents, this book had a lot of rhymes in it, didn't it? Rhyming is a pre-reading skill children need to learn before they can Learn to read, to hear the sounds of the words, what rhymes, what doesn't. And kind of a fun thing to do is to say a word like pig, and then think of a word that rhymes with it, like jig or rig. And if your child says a word that we don't recognize in our language as a word, let them go ahead and say it. Let them play with the language and hear that sound and how it feels in their throat and what it sounds like in their voice. Well, I have a spider web here. Do you see it? Yeah. Yep, there it is. What kind of an animal do you think lives in a spider web?
Spider.
A spider. So I'm going to put the animal on the web. What did I bring? That's not a spider, is it? What is it? It's a cow. Do you think a cow would go in a spider web?
No.
Well, now this is a silly story, isn't it? Yeah, it's a song about a cow on a spider web. It goes like this. One little cow went out one day upon a spider's web to play. She had such enormous fun that she called for another one to come. And how would a cow call? What does a cow say? Moo. How many cows do we have now? Two. Two little cows went out one day upon a spider's web to play. They had such enormous fun that they called for another one to come. What'd they say? Moo. So how many do we have now? Three. 1, 2, 3. 3 little cows went out one day upon a spider's web to play. The web went crack. The web went crack. And those 3 little cows came running back. Isn't that silly? Yeah. Cows don't play on spider webs, do they? Cows live in the barn, and they live on farms with all kinds of other animals, like sheep, like Larry, and like horses and pigs, don't they? Yeah, and they have electric blankets, and they type, right? Is that what cows do? I don't think so, but that's the title of this book. It's called Click, Clack, Moo, Cows That Type. It's written by Doreen Cronin, and the illustrations are by Betsy Lewin. Click, clack, moo. That's your part. You get to say that. All right. Farmer Brown had a problem. His cows like to type. And all day long, this is what he hears. Click, clack, moo. Can you say that? Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. At first, he couldn't believe his ears. Cows that type? Well, that's impossible. Here's the sound. Let's say it. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. Oh, my goodness. Then he couldn't believe his eyes because one day he got this message. This is what they typed. I'll read it to you. It says, "Dear Farmer Brown, the barn is very cold at night. We'd like some electric blankets. Sincerely, the cows." That's what you always write at the bottom of a letter. Sincerely, the cows. Do you think they needed electric blankets? They thought they did. It was bad enough that the cows had found the typewriter in the barn, and now they wanted electric blankets? No way, said Farmer Brown. No electric blankets. So the cows went on strike. They left him a note that said, "Sorry, we're closed. No milk today." That means they wouldn't give any more milk. I wonder what he's going to do now. "No milk today," cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard the cows busy at work typing, and it sounded like this. Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo. The next day, Farmer Brown got another note, and it said, "Dear Farmer Brown, the hens are cold too." Oh, do they look cold? No, maybe they are. They would also like electric blankets. sincerely the cows. What's he going to do? The cows were growing impatient with the farmer. Impatient. Yes, they wanted something done, didn't they? They left a note on the barn door, and it said, "Closed, no milk, no eggs." "No eggs!" cried Farmer Brown. In the background, he heard those cows typing, and here it said, once again, "Click, clack, moo. Click, clack, moo. Clickety, clack, moo." Cows that type, hands on strike. Who ever heard of such a thing? How can I run a farm with no milk and no eggs? Farmer Brown was furious. Farmer Brown got out his own typewriter. Do you see it? Yeah, there it is. "Dear cows and hens, there will be no electric blankets. You are cows and you are hens. Therefore, you will give milk and eggs. In fact, I demand it. Sincerely, Farmer Brown." Now, Duck was the neutral party. That means that Duck was not a hen, and Duck certainly wasn't a cow either. No. And so he delivered the ultimatum to the cows. That was the note that said, no milk, no eggs, no electric blankets, right? You better get to work. The cows held an emergency meeting. All the animals gathered around the barn to snoop, but none of them could understand moo. And that's the only thing that the cows said, wasn't it? Moo. There was a horse. Do you see the horse? And the pig, the cat, the dog, and of course the sheep, yes. All night long, Farmer Brown waited and waited for an answer. Duck knocked on the door early the next morning. He handed Farmer Brown a note, and it said, "Dear Farmer Brown, we will give you our typewriter for electric blankets. Leave them outside the door, and we will send Duck over with the typewriter. Sincerely, the cows." So they got their electric blankets, didn't they? Farmer Brown decided this was a good deal. He left the blankets next to the barn door and waited for Duck to come back with the typewriter. Do you see them all tucked in? There's the hens, and they're all asleep. And there's the cows, and they're all asleep. And do you see these little lights? That's because the blankets are electric, and they have to be plugged in. They have a little light that you can use to switch them, to turn them up or turn them down, depending on how warm or how cold you are, right? The next morning, Farmer Brown got another note. It said, "Dear Farmer Brown, the pond is quite boring. We would like a diving board. Sincerely, the ducks." So the ducks must have learned to type. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Click, clack, quack. Did they get their diving board? It sure looks like it. That duck is diving off the diving board right into the pond. What a silly thing. Oh my goodness. Well, we've been reading stories about animals that are silly. Shall we read a story about a real person? What do you think?